Jerry Foster, WBC News.
This, according to the IDF, is the moment a tank fired on the building Sinwar was holed up in. And this is the Bizlash brigade of soldiers who killed him, operating in that area on the day. The Tel Satan neighborhood, Rafah, southern Gaza. Israeli soldiers have stumbled on the country's most wanted man. A gunfight had ensued. A tank shelled the building. Then a drone is sent in. It picks up Sinwar sitting in an armchair still alive. Looks like a hand is missing. Eyes on the approaching machine. The last act of armchair aggression from the man who planned the death of so many, throwing a stick at a UAV. The Israelis released pictures of items they say were found with the body, from suitably sinister to mawkish and mundane. Cash, bullets, ID papers, Mentos. Also a map of what's reported to be a tunnel network. Along with Sinwar's brother Mohammed, Khalil al-Hayya is a candidate for the next leader of Hamas. Today, thought to be in Qatar, eulogized Sinwar and ruled out an imminent release of hostages in Gaza.
Those prisoners will not return to you until the aggression on our people in Gaza is stopped and full withdrawal from it, and release our heroes, the prisoners, from the occupation jails, and we continue with the Hamas path.
101 hostages are still being held in Gaza, at least half of them thought to be still alive. Their friends and family took to the streets of Tel Aviv again today.
Long before the attacks of October the 7th last year, Yahya Sinwar was at the top of any notional Israeli target list. A former internal enforcer, a former prisoner in Israel, since 2017, the head of Hamas in Gaza. Born in southern Khan Yunis to Palestinian refugee parents, he was 25 at the time of the first Intifada, or uprising, in 1987. Recruited to the newly formed Hamas, quickly becoming its chief enforcer, punishing, killing Palestinians suspected of collaborating with Israel. In 1989, he was convicted by Israel for the abduction and
Here in Israel, we don't celebrate the elimination of our enemies. We celebrate when our loved ones come back home.
At Hostages Square, we met the cousin of Carmel Gat. The occupational therapist was one of a group of 6 hostages murdered in Gaza's tunnels back in August. DNA found at the scene indicated that Sinwar had also been in the area, possibly using Carmel and the others as human shields.
Some people in the government in Israel want to go on fighting forever and to keep on fighting, even though we eliminated Sinwar, even though we have a chance to get the hostages back. We need to focus on what's important, and most of the Israelis think exactly what I think. They think that the most important thing is the hostages, and if we miss this chance, this golden hour to get the hostages back, we can only blame ourselves.
Benjamin Netanyahu has said that Sinwar's death doesn't mean the end of the war in Gaza, and now, of course, other fronts have opened. The funeral today of one of 5 Israeli soldiers killed in southern Lebanon on Wednesday fighting Hezbollah. Some of those injured were first brought to this hospital in Haifa, northern Israel. Also today, 2 gunmen dressed in military uniform cut through a border fence and entered Israel from Jordan. They were killed by Israeli soldiers. The IDF are searching the area around the Dead Sea for a possible 3rd gunman who got away. A reminder that even with the death of the man who let this conflict's genie out of the bottle, the possibility of escalatory action can come in forms and from places no one is ready for.
Today, Israel confirmed that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, is dead, and justice has been served. And the United States, Israel, and the entire world are better off as a result. Sinwar was responsible for the killing of thousands of innocent people, including the victims of October 7 and hostages killed in Gaza. He had American blood on his hands. Today, I can only hope that the families of the victims of Hamas feel a sense and measure of relief. Sinwar was the mastermind of October 7, the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. A terrorist attack that killed 1,200 innocent people and included horrific sexual violence and more than 250 hostages taken into Gaza, including 7 Americans, living and deceased, who remain in captivity. A terrorist attack that triggered a devastating war in Gaza, a war that has led to unconscionable suffering of many innocent Palestinians and greater instability throughout the Middle East. In the past year, American Special Operations and intelligence personnel have worked closely with their Israeli counterparts to locate and track Sinwar and other Hamas leaders. And I commend their work. And I will say, to any terrorist who kills Americans, threatens the American people, or threatens our troops or our interests, know this: we will always bring you to justice. Israel has a right to defend itself, and the threat Hamas poses to Israel must be eliminated. Today, there is clear progress toward that goal. Hamas is decimated, and its leadership is eliminated. This moment gives us an opportunity to finally end the war in Gaza. And it must end such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination. And it is time for the day after to begin, without Hamas in power. We will not give up on these goals, and I will always work to create a future of peace, dignity, and security for all. I thank you all.
Is the U.S. asking Israel to end the war now, Madam Vice President?